This bill was interrupted yesterday, 26th March, and Senator Sifuna and 5 minutes. So since I cannot see him around, any other member wishing to contribute now can key in to contribute. Senator Chalagay, Samson Kiprotich.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to rise up on this, the Sugar Bill 2022, National Assembly Bills number 34 of 2022. Mr. Speaker, I know it originated from the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, I think it goes in line with what we call when in 2018-2019, a task force, Mr. Speaker, on sugar industry stakeholders task force report, Mr. Speaker. As in remarks, Mr. Speaker, and Mr. Speaker, just as a concern, have you noticed one of the TV sets in the chambers, both sides are going off and on? I think we need to check with the supplier or people who are concerned. And it is good that the Commissioner of Parliamentary is in the House. It's impeding your visitors on gallery not to watch what is happening. I hope, and it has not been happening today, but severally. So we need to invite the supplier. Mr. Speaker, in opening remarks, this sugar, for example, in Nandi, Mr. Speaker, we grow sugar predominantly in Chemase ward and the Tindred sub-county by and large. Mr. Speaker, nowadays, part of Masop sub-county, Masop constituency, we are also growing sugar, Mr. Speaker. And even part of where I come from, Osoria, Mr. Speaker, some of us have tried our hand in planting sugar cane across Nandi. So Nandi is a serious catchment. I know, Mr. Speaker, there is a misnomer and misrepresentation in this republic that sugar only is grown in Kisumu and western part of Kenya and maybe Kwale and other areas, Mr. Speaker. But Nandi and Kericho is in fact most factories like Chemeli, like Ibos, West Sugar, like Butali, Mr. Speaker, depend largely on the sugarcane supply from Nandi County, Mr. Speaker, and Kericho counties. So we have a big stake. Mr. Speaker, I was disappointed when the Agriculture Committee decided to do only public participation in Kisumu County, Mr. Speaker, entrenching the continued marginalization against my people, Mr. Speaker, against the great people of Nandi and Kericho counties, Mr. Speaker. I would have expected, and in fact, even out of courtesy, Mr. Speaker, from your office or with the clerks, I was never invited for that meeting, Mr. Speaker. So, but I want to assure the people of Nandi, all is not lost. We are still holding this faith in fighting for justice and fairness so that we can no longer be marginalized, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to request your office in future, whenever committees move around, they should not move around like exclusive clubs. They should do a proper invitation to the area senator, Mr. Speaker. I think that is something small. That's just basic courtesy. As the Vice Chair of County Public Accounts, I cannot visit Meru without informing you as the area senator. So, Mr. Speaker, my people are not happy in Nandi County because we are entrenching the perception that sugarcane is only grown in Kisumu and maybe Vihiga and maybe Kakamega, Mr. Speaker. I know, Mr. Speaker, and it is very unfortunate. Most of those mills, Mr. Speaker, are sustained by the cane supply that we give from Nandi County. And, Mr. Speaker, on the second point, as I know there are many challenges on the issue of sugarcane development, sugarcane processing, the issue of milling, sugarcane farmers. Mr. Speaker, most farmers, sugarcane farmers, even in Kakamega, in Western region, and other parts of the country, Mr. Speaker, we only continue to suffer, Mr. Speaker. We continue to get frustrated, Mr. Speaker, because at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, you know, and I want to agree, Mr. Speaker, in as much as farmers continue to develop, Mr. Speaker, I'm disappointed because also the roads that are being used, especially within Nandi, especially in Tindred sub-county and Masop sub-county where sugarcane is grown, the cess, we have never seen the cess that comes from Butali Sugar Company or a number of sugar factories that supply sugar from Nandi. Because that cess, Mr. Speaker, is supposed to be used to maintain and ensure those roads are accessed, Mr. Speaker, so that when these sugarcane factories are carrying sugar from farmers, they should maintain those roads, Mr. Speaker. That's why we saw increased tractor accidents. And I remember Senator of Kisumu, in a question time, raised the issue of tractor accidents. Because we need to be careful in terms of low-volume roads to ensure we protect homes and make sure, Mr. Speaker, that it goes to the next, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, on sugar industry stakeholders task force report of 2019, I can see that a number of issues have been raised and has been captured, Mr. Speaker. I have had the opportunity of reading the committee report that was tabled yesterday, and I am impressed that a number of amendments have been proposed by the committee, led by Senator Murango, the Kirinyaga Senator, the chairperson of Agriculture. They have proposed a number of drafts of amendments, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, there was total in 2022, Mr. Speaker, the country produced 796,053 metric tons, Mr. Speaker, and in which short, and I think we can attribute this to subsidized fertilizer program that President William Ruto did initiate. Now, in 2021, it was 700,000.24 metric tons, but in 2022, it has increased. Even in January, December 2023, at that time, Mr. Speaker, there is a significant growth. In 2022, Mr. Speaker, sugar that was sold was 4.56 billion. That continues. We are talking about a sector that is affecting a number of counties. And in Kenya, Mr. Speaker, we have more than 17 sugar mills, both private and public. I don't know where the one where Senator Aaron Cheruyat comes from has been included, because we have 17 mills in this, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, total processing of capacity per day is 52,700 metric tons, which is 56%. So, Mr. Speaker, we are still doing badly because of factory maintenance and unstable cane supply. So we must invest in cane development and cane supply to ensure that we are able to Mr. Speaker, I'll make only 5 comments, then I allow my colleagues to contribute. Mr. Speaker, there is this board that has been formed. I think AFA, Agricultural Food Authority, we had lumped all the crops into one organization. I'm happy the way we did with the Tea Act, we were able to form Tea Board, and now we are forming Kenya Sugar Board. We'll ensure that they focus their energy only on the development of cane and research within. Mr. Speaker, and even the farm inputs, the seeds, the research, Mr. Speaker, the imports, so that we don't, Mr. Speaker, we don't import sugar at the expense of our farmers, Mr. Speaker. So on clause number 4, I think the functions of, and also advisory services to the government and the county governments, Mr. Speaker, and even we have the sugar pricing committee, so that farmers are given the better price as per their tonnage and the supply, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even on the issue of factory maintenance, you remember sometimes in this country, Mr. Speaker, we are told there is shortage or scarcity of sugar because some factories are undergoing maintenance, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, even such issues of, Mr. Speaker, I would have expected also we ensure their best practices. We have had cases where people are the issue of way bridges, Mr. Speaker, where the way bridges are being timbered, such that farmers do not get value for their cane they deliver, Mr. Speaker. So I expected the Sugar Board, I know it has been captured, so that they check, Mr. Speaker, and ensure the weighing scales or the way bridges are not timbered to the disadvantage of farmers in the country. Mr. Speaker, I have seen, for example, in Celia, Butali Sugar Company has opened a way bridge. As you approach the Kaliech, or as you approach the Potopoto on your way to Kisumu, Mr. Speaker, there is a way bridge. I don't know, it belongs to Kibos. So, Mr. Speaker, and other way bridges that are used to weigh a number of them. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of best practices, and I don't know, for example, in the one at the Celia way bridge, whether Kenya Bureau of Standards has approved and checked, because I have seen they have just opened a way bridge in Celia, but, Mr. Speaker, whether the caps, and this will be the work of Kenya Sugar Board, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, on clause number 6, Mr. Speaker, of course, I agree on the issue of efficient road network. I can tell you in Nandi, we have not seen sales for sugarcane. When you go to Chemelil, Chemase, and Tindred, the roads are pathetic, yet sales is being paid by Chemelil, by West Kenya, and by Kibos Sugar Factory, Mr. Speaker, we have never seen value. When you go to Masop, we supply cane to Butali Sugar Company in Kakamega, where my brother comes. But the roads are very pathetic, Mr. Speaker, and it is very unfortunate. I hope the board shall find a way of resolving this, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of course, Finance Act, Mr. Speaker, I know some senators, this on the issue of impose a levy or levies. These are issues that Finance Act and Finance Bill in preparation of budget and KRA, these are...
is necessary because already we have representation from research organizations who are